Good afternoon. This is Winton Churchill broadcasting live on the International Living site and also on our Barefoot Consultant site and also on our YouTube channel. So I'd like to welcome everybody participating in the live event today. We're going to talk a little bit about some tips for those of us 50 and over that want to do freelancing. There's a few things that over the 14 years I've been doing this, actually 20 years working as a freelancer, and learned a few things along the way, taught a few more people how to do this, and have learned a lot of things. We talk a lot about crowdsourcing, where many people work on the same problem around the world, because now we have the computer infrastructure to do that. The same kind of thing happens when you have thousands of people come through your programs. You see what works, what doesn't, what kind of mindset things, what sort of attitude works. All these different things add up, and really success leaves clues. There's certain paths that we recommend people take, and they work out and they become happy freelancers. There's a lot of people now, 50 plus, thanks to the Great Resignation, who are saying, I'm going to go freelance instead of work for this company I'm working for. And many of them are wandering into this with not a clear idea about how the world of freelancing works. And so this is something that we help people with, help them figure out how to do this. And in fact, we have an event coming up in April, late April. I'll put the link here in the comments section if you'd like to take a look at that. And it's a workshop where we help people kind of go through and get this stuff all put together. And they come in Friday night without a freelance presence, and they leave on Sunday night knowing how to, first of all, having their profile posted on a network, a global network, a worldwide network, knowing how to acquire work from around the world, really, in this system. We've done a number of these over the years. Thanks to the ending of what we've been through for the last 2 years, we're able to start doing this again. Our last one of these was in Los Angeles, and they're always lots of fun. And it's very exciting and very inspiring to be surrounded by people that are also pursuing the same thing that you are. There's a lot of good energy that comes out of that. And so I want to start talking about the tips. And the first tip is going to be really, I guess it's focus on your possibilities. And this is really important. Many baby boomers I talk to feel like they may not have accomplished as much as they wanted to in their career. They feel like their financial situation should be different. They feel like they should be living on a beach somewhere by now and that kind of thing. And, they're not. And we all had a few upsets along the way. If you've made it to age 50, you've had some ups and downs, certainly. And the idea of sort of focusing on what's possible going forward is what is going to do the most good in terms of pursuing this dream of a portable income. And one of the steps in that is sort of dropping the baggage, and the way we start when we work with a client, and through this workshop, the way we work with the people participating in the client as a client in that, is we focus on the skills that you already have. And this is where a lot of baby boomers get confused. They think that working online is something that only people that have a lot of computer expertise and that kind of thing can do. And that is not true. There's lots of need for people that know how to do things like proofreading and create PowerPoint presentations and that kind of thing. There's also people that know how to have a phone conversation in a customer service environment. Potentially, a lot of customer service today is done by email And so understanding how to do emails, you're never really talking to the customer in that mode, but you are providing a look-see at what's going on and what's coming in. I want to say hi to Laura Irwin. Thank you very much. And Kathy, thanks for the heart. I appreciate that. Appreciate all the likes. That helps us spread this message around to people on Upwork. And I see Lisa and Linda and Pablo coming in. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Good to see Pablo there. Thanks for stopping by. There's this, and a song inspired me. If you remember the song from Monty Python, "Always Look on the Bright Side of Life," just type a yes into the chat window. Looking for people that remember the song from Monty Python, "Always Look on the Bright Side of Life." And this is certainly a time to do that. And Colleen, good to see you. Yeah, very good. And Sandra, excellent. Very good. Excellent. A fun song, a fun movie. Certainly for many of us baby boomers. And thanks, Laura. Good to see you. It's very important as you begin this search, because there's this, sort of negative, critical person or entity sitting on your shoulder that says you can't do that, or you don't know enough how to do that, or you can't turn on your computer, or that kind of thing. And that's really not true. Most people that I find today that come into our programs do know how to turn on their computer, and they do know how to read and respond to email, and they do know how to order things online and all kinds of good stuff. So, and if you look back in your career, you have industry experience, you may have had a job function, maybe you worked in human resources, maybe you worked in manufacturing, maybe you worked in a corporate office of some kind. But within the work you did, you came in and did things. You came in and you planned out a program, or you filled out spreadsheets, created spreadsheets that have some sort of benefit to the organization. And you brought what we call a domain of knowledge, your knowledge of whatever company and industry you were in, to that, writing that email or doing that PowerPoint presentation or whatever it is. And there are just tons and tons of opportunity for people that are able to do that. And so we focus on possibilities, and that's really step one. That's what gets the wheels spinning. And particularly when, as we're going to be working in this workshop, in the pre-planning session that we do online for the workshop, we're going to be talking about all those different things that those skills come from, and helping you. I find that once we explain this concept of taking your occupation and breaking it down into its component parts, that the light bulb comes on and people get very productive with that. And that's what we're going for. We're looking for usually a list of 20 or 30 items that represent skills or domains of knowledge. And usually when we have a conversation with somebody, talk to them for 20 minutes and we come up with that list real fast. It's not just what you're doing in your career now. It's what you're doing and have done in days past. You can go back over the years. I added up as best I could, and I've worked for 13 different companies in my lifetime. And some of those were because one company merged into another, and then another company spun off. And, there's all kinds of reasons that count goes up. But in every one of those companies and in every one of those decades, as baby boomers and 50 plus, we have decades of experience. And that's very much in demand as we roll out of this pandemic right now. An important thing to realize, they need Freelance buyers need people for whom this is not their first rodeo. You know, we've lived through oil crisis and the Kennedy assassination early on, and the 9/11 situation, and all kinds of things. And we had to, pick ourselves up and dust ourselves off and head back in uh, to whatever organization we might have been working with, or if we were a solo consultant or whatever it might be. We had our apple cart upset and had to go in and figure it out again. And that resilience is very important at the phase we're in now. One of the things that I do in my work as sort of the chief barefoot of Barefoot Consultants is I interview buyers of freelance services constantly to understand what are their sensibilities, what kind of things do they want, what do they like about the freelance they hire, when do they terminate a freelancer, what makes them mad, all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that they say over and over to me is that their 50 plus freelancers tend to get the big picture, and that's very valuable to them. The other thing is that they tend to be able to recover if in any project, which anytime you do a project online, there's some ups and downs. And as you do that, I mean, and the ups and downs are no bigger than anything you've experienced in your career typically. And in fact, they're probably less, because everybody realizes that's working virtually, and that's what we're talking about here, is working remotely. Everybody is able to jump in and help. They realize it's a little more difficult to communicate and that sort of thing. So they basically overcompensate a little bit to make sure communication's understood, that the project is moving in the right direction, that kind of thing. So it's actually quite an enjoyable experience once you get started with that. So focusing on your possibilities is extremely important. Laura is asking, hold on a second. Laura is asking if we ever do workshops in Canada. Let me see, my mouse won't get over there. There we go. And we don't. This workshop that we're doing in St. Louis, we do once a year. And they're, as you can imagine, these things are fairly expensive to put on. And what we do is we try to find a central place. In fact, with this one in particular, in North America. And so that's what we've done. So we have people come to this workshop. In the past, have in the one in Los Angeles, for example, we had people that came from Australia, people that came from South Africa. So we get a worldwide attendance, and no workshops planned for Canada at this time. But this one in St. Louis will be a great opportunity to get in. And for some of the people that have just joined, lots of new likes, and really appreciate that. Colleen, thank you very much. And Cindy, very good. Good to see you. Linda, Diane, excellent. Okay, very good. So that'll give you a chance to take a look at that. The next thing, and this is a concept that is very hard to understand, is to teach this idea that you're working on a global network. You know, in the old days, when you thought about freelancing, you would get your business cards printed up, and you might go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting or a Kiwanis meeting and pass it out and say, hey, I'm doing some freelancing now, and this is the kind of stuff I do. And you have all kinds of awkward conversations, and maybe you go back to the office and you contact the person on the phone and they're not so interested. You know, in the old days, this was called dialing for dollars, and you used to call people and say, hey, have you got any proofreading you need done, or editing you need done, and that kind of thing. And that was a way that most freelancers got started. And that's frankly the way I got started in the year 2000. And when that happens, you're spending 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% of your time when you're starting as a freelancer doing that kind of activity. We called it dialing for dollars, or going on the rubber chicken circuit, because the chicken in conferences sometimes seems a little rubbery. And so that's what happens. And the idea of these networks, and there's many of them out there, there's over 150 networks out there that freelancers can work on. And they're a little bit like eBay, except that rather than having physical product and that kind of thing, they buyers post jobs that they need done. And a job at one end of the scale could be as tiny as proofread this one-page document. And at the other end of the scale, it could be manage a multi-million-dollar project or design a satellite. And there is literally everything in between. I've seen two people in my life that have said, I don't think there's anything in there for me. I've actually seen lots more that said that I don't think there's anything in there for me. But two people that I truly could not find work to do for several different reasons. But these job networks are a collection of jobs from around the world. And one network that I checked this morning has 300,000 jobs on it sitting out there that are open, and they're looking for people. You don't have to print out a business card. You don't have to have awkward conversations with people. They're saying, this is what I need done. How much would you charge to have me do it? How much would you charge? And what are your qualifications? And that network, there are people bidding on that exact same job that live around the world. And some of the things that we address in this is what's your competitive edge? And when we combined this philosophy of domains of knowledge with your skill set, that's what makes a job unique. And that's the really powerful part of what we teach in this. And I've seen so many people, once they sort of grasp that concept, they're just able to work and their freelance work blossoms, because that's a competitive advantage that most people don't understand. Most people, in fact, probably many people on this conference here now, think, well, I'll sign up as a proofreader and I'll do that. How hard can it be? And what they don't realize is, when you go in to look for the proofreading jobs, I looked a couple days ago, there were 9,000 proofreading jobs. Well, you can't look at 9,000 jobs in a day. What we teach is you want to boil that down to about 12 to 20 jobs every single day that really lock into your skill set, your background, and your domains of knowledge. And certainly those are all in there, but the search strategies that we teach you are the essence and the key to making sure you can boil that down to something that you can manage on a daily basis. And really, once you get in there, even looking at 20 jobs a day is a lot, but we teach you some strategies on how to filter and sort those things. But the point is, you're not picking up the phone and saying, have you got any work I can do? Or you're not going into the Chamber of Commerce meeting with sweaty palms and business cards with wet ink on them saying, gee, do you have any work I could do for you? You're looking online at a system that is showing you jobs from around the world. And you are saying, this is a good fit, that's not a good fit. And you're sifting and sorting those to very quickly, within a matter of minutes, out of those thousands and thousands of jobs, boil those down to the ones that combine your skill set, your interest, and your domains of knowledge and your wisdom to bring you the jobs that are very best for you. And that's something you can do on a global network. And I'll give you an example of how people don't understand that at times. I can explain this when I teach workshops out in, just came from one in Las Vegas for international living. And somebody said, well, listen, I am going to live in Panama. So what do I do? How do I use this to do jobs in Panama? And I said, you can't, in Panama, if you go there, they love to have you come there and retire and invest money in a place to live and spend money in the local economy. And many countries even have sort of business programs that you can go there and start a business, but you have to come up to speed on local knowledge, local markets, pricing, demand, all those kind of things. What we're talking about is jobs from around the world that you can bid on every day, and you just turn on your computer, and it doesn't matter if you're in Panama or Costa Rica or Italy or wherever you're traveling, Bali, Thailand, just all different places that you can go. And if you've got a good internet connection, you can make this thing work and start providing you with that portable income that is so valuable, especially if you move out of a country or an area where costs are higher to an area where costs are much lower. And international living proves that over and over again with all their publications and all their conferences to really show you the exact detail of how you can put that together. So you're working on a global network on your computer the day you log in from wherever you are. And once you fine tune these searches, as we teach you, you have those jobs that are just a great fit for you. And the third thing that's really important, and this is probably the biggest mistake I see new freelancers make when they go on to a system like one of these global systems, is they look at it and they go, you got to put a profile up here. It kind of looks like a resume. I will cut and paste my resume into this system. And that is the opposite of what you want to do. And I'll explain why. There's two things to know about resumes and profiles. One, a resume is typically a chronological list of the things that you've done in your career. And, over the years, people were very, I know when I was interviewing people at Apple, the HR person would come in and said, oh my God, this person had a 3-month gap in their appointment, in their employment, and I said, well, big deal. What's that all about? Well, they could have been in jail. That's kind of the mindset of HR 30 some years ago. And now the mindset on these freelance networks is, I want to know what skills the person has that apply to the job that I want to do. They want to take a very narrow look at it. They don't care if you had a 3-month gap in employment. They don't care if the writing that you've done has been for your church newsletter. It's writing, and you have examples of it that you can share with them. And so these are the things that really separate a profile from a resume and are so important to do. As you can imagine, when somebody posts an assignment on one of these networks, there are a number of people, usually on the order of 10 to 20 people, that apply for that assignment. And I mean, this could be a 2-hour proofreading job or a 2-year project management job. So lots of things. Bruce says, this is good, Bruce, that you're in Japan and have been doing this for 10 years. And the possibilities are endless. In fact, that's a little bit how I describe this. To me, a lot of what we do is we help people understand what the opportunities are and how to present them online. And it's like a portal. And there's always a little fear around, I don't know enough about computers, or, what could I possibly do online? But once we've got them for a couple days, like we do in this workshop, they come out with tremendous clarity about what the opportunities are. And once you understand that, and once you get through the portal, and we teach you how to use some of these global networks, and we teach you how to respond to job offers and assignments and that kind of thing. You, people, boomers 50 plus, their natural instincts take over, their natural skill set, their natural ability to communicate takes over, and they are off to the races because they just, you know, they get this stuff. This is stuff they've been doing all their lives, and maybe they didn't get it at the beginning, but after 20, 30, 40 years of all the training we have, all the experience we have, all the ups and downs, the recovery from untoward situations, the extending of our successes and building on our successes. These are all skills that many freelancers in a younger age group don't have. And if we hadn't been through what we've been through in the last 2 years, uh, in my mind, people 50 plus may have had less of an advantage going into this, but now it seems more because we're covering new ground. Freelance buyers want you to help them do new things. The lockdowns and pandemic and everything have created a huge need to retool every business, every nonprofit, every government agency has to rewrite all their procedure manuals, all their marketing plans, all their customer engagement, because all of that has changed. This is one of the most enormous opportunities, if not the most enormous opportunity in the last 100 years uh, of any kind of rebuilding. I mean, many businesses have been devastated. A third of small businesses in the state have gone out of business, and the ones that are still in business need to come back. They need to get going again. And what they've discovered now is that a lot of businesses had the mindset that we could only do what we do with employees. And what happened is we've all had our free trial, 2-year free trial of that portable income kind of job. And a lot of people, especially people over 50, are saying, yes, this makes a lot of sense to me. And, they're saying, I don't want to put up with the office anymore. I don't want to put up that cranky boss that knows a lot less than I do about the business that we're in, or that kind of thing. And so that's the kind of thing that makes it very beneficial for 50 plus people to make this move. As I said earlier, in the Great Resignation, 90% of the people participating in the Great Resignation are 50 plus, and most people don't recognize this fact. If you watch the news, you think it's the digital nomad wannabe who's been working in the office building in Manhattan and they're 35 years old. And they say, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to go zip line in Brazil. Well, that's not really the person that's making this Great Resignation decision. It's really somebody that's 50 plus and saying, I'm not going to put up with this anymore. And so understanding how to take your skill set and represent it to that buyer who is looking for what I would call staffing balance. They're going to have, before the pandemic, most companies and organizations had employees. After, they're going to have a mixture of full-time employees, part-time employees, and freelancers that come in, sail into the business when there's a job that demands their expertise, and then they sail out of it. One example of this is a company that does trade shows. They do 2 trade shows a year. and they don't have time for a full-time trade show manager. So they saddle up one of their employees and deputize them and make them one of these, the event manager, if you will. The person has had no real training in it. They don't understand how all the pieces fit together, really. They don't understand the promotion schedule before, the things that have to happen after. And they learn that on the job, and they're doing that twice a year. So they're kind of learning it, and then they're forgetting it, and then they're learning it and forgetting it. Well, if you hire a freelancer that does event management, for example, that person comes into your business, and for the 60 days period that you might be gearing up for that event and then winding down, you have somebody who is really at the top of their game on event management and conferences. And that person comes in and works for 2 or 3 months, and then they unplug. The company has the benefit of not paying, not hiring an employee and incurring the overhead that comes with. And they only need this person for maybe 5 or 6 months a year. So that person is able to then go off and sell those skills to another organization. So lots of good ways to rebalance the staffing, bring more flexibility into the staffing. And this is something that we're just beginning to see as we roll out of the pandemic. So I'm happy to answer any questions anyone might have. Appreciate all the likes and the hearts. Charlene, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Rhonda. Very good. Always appreciate that. That helps carry this message out to more viewers on the various systems that we're on. So I want to thank you for stopping by. I want to thank those of you watching this in playback mode, watching the replay. On our own site, we get about 95% of the folks watch the replay, because of course now we're getting a little more active and out and away from the computer, thank God. And but we appreciate all those people that come in and ask questions, and we'll be answering those questions in the chat window on the International Living site and on our Barefoot Consultants site, and also on our YouTube channel. So fire away, even if you're watching this on the replay. Thanks everybody for your participation and kind words, and look forward to seeing you again soon, maybe Saturday morning or certainly on the replay. And have a great rest of the day wherever you might be in the world. Thank you very much.